The Cardiff Devils had a good season last year, finishing out with 74 points in the regular season. Third behind Steelers with 81, and the Giants with 88 points. The season ended on a high, with a playoff win over the Belfast Giants, to lift the playoff trophy into the off-season. This year they will be looking to compete for all 3 trophies available, so let's take a look at their completed roster, and see if they have the talent to do it. First, let's begin by looking at some key departures. Most notably, Stephen Dixon moves on to play in Glasgow Clan. In normal seasons, losing your first-line center would be a big hit, especially one that is as good in the face-off dot as Dixon. However, I think this is a loss they can manage. Putting up 46 points in 66 games last year across all competitions is good, but not irreplaceable. And at age 37 his production is likely to begin to fade this season and next. The addition of Joey Martin certainly helps. Another huge loss is Matt Register, one of the best defensemen of last season. His offensive production was impressive, especially for a big guy. Other notable losses include Brandon McNally, who brought that sandpaper to the forward group, Brendan Mickelson, who brought that experience and steadiness to the blue line. His two-way abilities will be missed. Josh Lamon was a surprising loss, as many of us thought he would stick around. An excellent penalty killer and two-way forward. But that was last year. What have the Devils done in the offseason to build a strong team for the 22-23 campaign? Let's take a look at the roster. This is currently how the roster is constructed. With Bailey Harewood also being added recently, as likely the 13th forward, on a two-way deal. I don't think there will be too much messing with the forward lines. We know that Crandall and Reed were one of the best duos last season. The Cox, Koffler, and Sanford line was one of the best lines in the league. We know they are likely going to play together. The All-Brit line is back, Waller, Davis, and Duggan. They had some real chemistry, especially down the stretch, and I would expect them to be the fourth line. I think Martin plays on the top line. I cannot see them bringing him back to play third line minutes. And that just leaves the third line with Britton, Penny, and Brandt. I think Britton also plays center, so there could be some moving around of positions, but if that is the third line, then it looks mean and hard to play against. A real gritty line. Moving on to D-Corps, Lewis and Batch are likely your third pair. They play so well together. I would expect Richardson to be on the second pairing, either with Thompson or Jardine. And Marcus Crawford to play on the top line, and will be expected to replace some of what Register brought. And of course in goal, we have Ben Bones back in Devils colors, with Kozin returning as the backup. Let's now take a closer look. Ben Bones returns as the number 1 in Cardiff. Last playing for the Devils back in 2019-2020, he posted a 90.5 save percentage in 46 regular season games, with a 2.84 goals against average. He then played for the Nottingham Panthers in the Behind Closed Doors Elite Series, surprisingly ending as backup to Jackson Whistle. Last year he posted a 90.9 save percentage, and a 2.68 goals against average, in the highly skilled Slovakia League, with HK Dukla Trenčín. So what can we expect from Bones? Can he be a standout goalie in this league? At just 31 he is not old, certainly not for a goaltender. It will be interesting to see how the tandem will work with Kozin as the backup. Kozin really impressed last year, and brought a steadiness to the goaltending position. He always gave the Devils a chance to win, and with posting an impressive 91.1 save percentage last year, with a 2.67 goals against average, he actually has better numbers than Bones did last time he played for the Devils. Could Kozin compete for the number 1 spot? Closing out goaltending depth is Will Curlin on a two-way deal. This was a really good move. To be able to take an arena team's backup goaltender and sign him as your third-string goalie really solidifies that position. Although he had some tough outings last season, he also had some decent performances. And with the Panthers' defensive last year he was at times fed to the Wolves. I think with more development time, and a more sheltered role, he could thrive in their system. Let's talk defense. Batch and Lewis are a pairing we have seen for years now. We know exactly what to expect from them. They play hard, aggressive, physical hockey. They are an excellent shutdown pair, but also have the ability to bring that offensive punch. Batch came through with some real highlight goals, and heavy shots from the point. The left side is hard to predict. I could see either Thompson or Jardine playing with Richardson on the second pairing. Richardson will be a Devil until he retires, and the team will do well to keep him around. He is the core of that blue line and is one of the most consistent blue liners in the league. When you can add a player like Thompson, who played in the American Hockey League as recently as last season, it tells you that this player is in his prime, and has high-end skill. He is typically your two-way defenseman, and plays excellent hockey on both sides of the puck. As comfortable making a stretch pass as he is making a huge hit, and all reports indicate he skates really well. Sam Jardine returns to the Devils lineup as a top 4 option. Having played games in the highly skilled Finnish Liga last season, this is another player at a great point in his career, bringing a wealth of experience and a real offensive punch. And finally, Marcus Crawford comes in as likely your top power play option. Brought in to replace a lot of what Matt Register brought. Coming in at just 25 years of age, he could take another massive step this season, putting up 52 points in 63 games last year in the East Coast Hockey League, a league which is fairly comparable to the Elite League in skill. Described as a smooth skating defenseman who plays with an edge by Brody DuPont, we expect him to replace Register and hopefully bring even more offense. And lastly, let's give a brief mention to Ed Bradley and Rhys Kelly, who sign as two-way deals. Both look like they could play games this year and be really effective. So, what do we think of the D-core? It seems like a well-rounded group, all of which can skate really well, and make great first passes. You have the size with Batch, Lewis, and Thompson. You get the two-way guys like Jardine and Richardson. And you have a true offensive star with Crawford. Cannot wait to see these guys take to the ice. Now let's talk about the forward group. Looking at the forward group, we have to first mention Joey Martin, who is likely coming in as the number 1 at the center position. At age 34, he still has some good years ahead of him. In his career as a Devils over 7 seasons, in 304 regular season games he has put up 365 points. This guy is a Devils legend, but can he repeat his past form? Likely on his wings will be Brody Reed and Justin Crandall. Reed being one of the top goal scorers in the league, and being named one of the top forwards. We know his wrist shot is elite, especially with Justin Crandall feeding him the puck. In 69 games last season, Crandall put up 57 helpers, and was over a point per game. As we look at the second line of Cox, Koffler, and Sanford, we know exactly what this line brings. Despite only having half a season together, with Koffler being added later, they quickly became one of the most dynamic lines in the league. Cox led them in points with 75. Sanford led them in goals with 29. And Koffler led them in goals per game, and penalty minutes, bringing that edge. The new look third line is interesting. Josh Britton comes in as an replacement and hopefully upgrade for Brandon McNally. The 6 feet 5 inch forward plays heavy hockey and is a true power forward. At 32, he has played in some incredible leagues, and also adds depth down the middle, as he can play both left wing and center. I have Ryan Penny in the third line center spot. He is great on both sides of the puck and has a really well-rounded game. He was one of the standout players for the Blaze last year, and can play in all situations, a real Swiss Army knife type player. Putting up 41 points in 64 games, I think he is better suited to the center position, with Britton on the left wing. And rounding out that third line, I have Riley Brandt. Not known for his offense, but rather his gritty game and willingness to check. Some may argue for him to be on the fourth line, perhaps moving Waller up, but I think he would fit perfectly on the third line, with Penny and Britton forming a really physical, tough line to poly against. Lastly, I have the all-Brit line, starting with Josh Waller on left wing. I think Waller has real top 6 potential. When you see his speed, puck handling, and this season we got to see his shot, I can see him rising through the lineup, especially as injuries happen. I have him on the fourth line to begin the season just because the chemistry between these 3 Brits was brilliant last year. Down the middle I have Davis. He was really excellent in the face-off dot last year, and seemed to stabilize Duggan and Waller, 2 younger forwards, bringing that veteran presence to the fourth line. And lastly, Sam Duggan on the right wing. He really matured last year as an excellent penalty killer, and even put up an impressive 6 goals. What do you think of the forward group? I think it looks really strong, and well-rounded. I do have questions as to whether Martin can return to previous form, whether Brandt moves down the lineup, and whether Waller moves up. I think it is key to give Waller the opportunity further up the lineup to show his scoring ability. So, can the Devils win some hardware this season? Who are you most looking forward to taking the ice? Did you agree with our lineup, or do you have it different? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and come back for more Elite League content.